Hi, I'm Brian from Floors to Your Home. Today I'm going to tell you a little bit about how to install laminate flooring. Now first, before we start, I do want to caution you to please read the instructions for your individual product that you purchased. Every laminate manufacturer does differ slightly in their installation instructions. This is not a one-size-fits-all for all installation techniques, but this is probably the most common installation technique and installation method. The type of installation that we're going to be doing on this floor is what's called an angle-angle locking system. First, what you want to do is to go up against your wall. We have a makeshift room set up here. Up against the wall or any vertical surface in your field, you are going to want to leave a 3/8 inch gap between the product and the wall. Laminate is a floating floor, therefore it does need the room around the perimeter to float and to move. The best way to keep that 3/8 inch standard width is to use spacers. You can buy these spacers from us. We sell an install kit with spacers, a tapping block, and a pull bar for $10. You can buy them locally, or depending on the thickness of your laminate, you could even cut your laminate into strips, a scrap piece, and you could use that all the way around your room. So first thing is that you want to use spacers, and you want them placed all around your room. Now we have all of our spacers placed along our first wall and along the second and third walls, the side walls. Let's pretend they go all the way down to the end of the room. What you will do is you'll lay your room, you'll come back and pull these spacers back up, and then that gap gets hidden or covered by your quarter round or wall base or whatever transition piece you use. We'll discuss that in a later video. The product that we're going to use for demonstration purposes here is one of our new Elite Supreme Click Together vinyl plank products. It's not a laminate product, but it goes down in the exact same way, and I wanted to show off one of the new colors so that you could see it. You want to start by putting your first board in what's actually the top left-hand corner of your room. Pretend this wall is going to go all the way up, and I'm actually standing where the wall would be. So you'll actually be on this side installing this while you get your first few rows in, and then you're going to want to turn your body, put your weight on the product you've already laid, and move out into your room and into your field. So you lay the first board, putting it snug up against the spacers in both sides. In an angle-angle locking system, in the first row, you angle in your end joints to where the corners line up and touch, and then you just lay it flat. On your first row, all you will do is end joints, and you'll continue all the way down to the end of the row, where of course you will need to measure and cut your piece to fit for the last piece of the row, but still continuing to only butt the end joints, line up your corners, and lay them down flat. That goes all the way to these set of spacers. Now, the way to have the least amount of waste possible is typically when you cut your last piece in a row, what falls off of that piece can be your first piece in your second row. So you'll come down and use that cutoff piece down as your first piece in the second row. Now you always need to make sure in a floating floor that from row to row your end joints are always a minimum of 8 inches apart. You don't want these end joints on top of each other like this. You need them a minimum of 8 inches apart. More than that is okay, but keep that minimum of 8 inches. That is what gives your floor the stability going forward down into your room. On the first piece of the second row, you're going to take the board a couple inches off the floor, a slight angle, it will slide in, you slide it all the way down to the spacer and lock it in place. On some laminates, you will need to pull back with your fingertips and make sure this joint gets sealed properly. Your second piece in your second row in this locking system, an angle-angle locking system, you put in your end joints first. A couple inches off the floor, angle it together, get it in as close as you can to the side joint, and then you lay it flat. You will have to pick it up, angle it in. Sometimes, some laminates are different in that you may need to tap them with the butt of your hand. Some, when you look at the directions, they will call for a tapping block, where you would put the tapping block up against the laminate, use a rubber mallet and tap it in. Again, please refer to the specific instructions on the actual product you purchased. Whatever the case may be, if it's just pulling back with fingertips, if it's using your hand, if it's using a rubber mallet and a tapping block, you lay this second piece in, it goes down flush. You have a flush seam in the end joint, you have a flush seam in the side joint, and your second piece is in. You continue by doing the second row. Every other row from here is done in the exact same manner. Again, when you are able to move from this side to this side, you want to do that. Put your weight on the product that's already laid, move into your field this way. And that is basic installation on an angle-angle locking system for laminate flooring.